following podcast is brought to you exclusively by the Rad Rob Radio Network.
This is PBA champion Kyle Troop.
Hey y'all, Jacob Ledrup here.
Jeff Riggles here from 11thframe.com.
Hey guys, Chuck Ritchie here, formerly of Bowl TV.
Hey guys, this is Ryan Schaefer of track staff at Valley Bowling Center in Waverly, New York.
And you're listening to Straight Up 5 with Johnny Petraglia Jr.
Yo, the boys from Straight Up 5, Rad Rob, Dr Ocho, and of course JP Jr.
As you know, JP Jr. used to be introduced as the sexiest man in bowling and now the world. But he doesn't have the best hair in the world. I do. Sorry, bud, but you know the deal. Pick it out. Fear the fro, baby.
Welcome to Straight Up 5 with Johnny Petraglia Jr. A hard-hitting, in-depth, cutting-edge look into the world of bowling. This podcast will not only cover all things bowling, but will also give you a raw look into real-life issues. You'll get unfettered access into the mind of one of the most gifted bowlers of this or any other generation.
Strike, and they claim it. Somebody does it!
So without further ado, let's introduce you to the hosts of the show. Rad Rob, Rob Francois. Rad Rob, Rob Francois. Dr Ocho. Dr Ocho. And the incomparable Johnny Petraglia Jr. Johnny Petraglia Jr.
Hey guys, welcome back to Straight Up 5 with Johnny Petraglia Jr. I am your host, Rad Rob, Rob Francois. It's true. It's true. I sure do. Happy holidays. Merry Christmas to all. Christmas is upon us next week. We won't be here next week or the week after for New Year's, but so this is our final show for a couple weeks. But before we jump into our very special guest, let's see who's here in the chat. Chat was fired up early. Chuck Ritchie, what's going on, brother? Good to see you. We got Matthew Wilborn in the house. Sorry, this font is kind of messing me up. Chucky, Billy M is here. We got Nico. Where's Nico? There's Nico. What's going on, Nico? Stangman is here. Crambone. What's going on, Crambone? Moselle. Merry Christmas, sweetheart. How are you? Our regulars are here, and I'm sure more will be filing in here shortly. So P-Cow. What's up, P-Cow? P-Cow messaged me and said he was very excited for the show. To have his friend Fish on the show. Easy for me to say. But let's bring in our first co-host, which is actually our second. Ocho's not here. Apparently, Ocho had plans that were deemed too important to be on this festive episode of Straight Up 5. So, fuck him. He's fired. We are now. You can apply to our Facebook page, Straight Up 5 with Johnny Petraglia Jr., to be a co-host on this show to replace Ocho. So just run over to us on Facebook and like our page. Bear's in the house. What's going on, Bear? And fill out an application to be the new co-host for Straight Up 5. All right, let's not waste any more time. I'm done fucking around. I'm kind of getting on my graphics here. Oh, there we go. Here's our festive logo. All right, let's bring in the man with all the power. Too sweet to be sour. Doesn't have a cam again for the second week in a row, so I might just fire him too, and it's just gonna be me, who knows absolutely nothing about bowling. So no, I'm just kidding. He is number 7 in your program, number 1 in your hearts, the sexiest man in the world, Johnny No Camera Petraglia Jr. What's going on, JP?
Nothing much, bro. Great to see you as always. And again,
I wish I could say the same, brother.
Yeah, you're not missing much. I haven't shaved in a couple days anyway. I'm a little bit of a mess, but no, everything is actually good. I promise I will get this shit fixed before we enter 2025. So anyway, going from there, everything going good with you, Rob?
Everything's great, brother. Can't complain. Everything is great. Life is good. Trump's gonna be in the White House in less than a month. I'm excited. Let's fucking go.
Yeah, so, this is what, episode 140 or whatever it is at this point. So we've been doing this a couple of years now. And I'm sitting here saying to myself as I'm going to bowl league, I'm like, we've had all the bright stars of the PBA tour. We've had bowling proprietors, we've had columnists, we've had pretty much everything. We've had, pretty much everything under the sun, but we've never had an exclusive pro shop owner operator on this show before. And not only to me is it one of the most difficult crafts to learn, number one, to know all the intricacies of drilling a ball and maintaining a store, but it's also the window of opportunity for everybody wherever they want to go in the sport of bowling. And there's so much that goes on in a pro shop for especially for somebody who's the owner operator. And you have to wear a lot of different hats. You have to deal with a lot of different personalities and a lot of different quips and qualms and whatever it may be. But I wanted to kind of dedicate a day, especially around the holiday season, to somebody that I felt was worthy enough to be on the show tonight, which is why we have our guest tonight.
And I'm excited to talk to him. And we talked about pro shops a lot, obviously, since you worked out in Vegas, and we've hear a lot about all the New Jersey pro shop owners and proprietors, and it's good to have one on here. So let's not waste any more time. He is the owner and operator of the premier pro shop at Majestic Lanes, one and only Fish, Chris Fisher. What's going on, brother?
What's up, everybody?
Thanks so much for being here, Fish. Great to see you, sir.
Hey, thanks for having me.
All right, awesome.
Start off, Johnny.
All right. Well, obviously, first off, Chris, introduce yourself to the world, other than the ones who already know you. Tell us kind of how you got intrigued in the shop business and bowling in general. Kind of just give us whatever you want to lead off here with.
Well, I kind of got lucky. My first year bowling, I took bowling gym in high school just to get out of gym class. And saw my buddy hooking the ball, and I said, I want to do that. And I went from a 136 to like 190 the first year. And guy Bob Cusick in Brooklyn, New York, gave me the job in the pro shop. And here I am 30 years later. Oh.
Do you thoroughly enjoy the pro shop industry?
I love it. I love it. It's a love-hate relationship, like everything. So,
sure. I guess let's feed off that one there for a quick one. Obviously, I understand to a certain extent. I was in the pro shop business for approximately 6 years, 7 years myself. What makes you the happiest when you're in the store? Is it like in other words, do you enjoy seeing a kid's eyes light up for their first 8-pounder? Do you really, really like somebody who comes in and says, hey, I just want to let you know my hand has hurt for my entire life, and thanks to you drilling my ball and fixing my pitches, I have no pain. Like, what brings you the most joy?
It's everything, man. It's I was like, if someone puts their hand in a ball that you just drilled and you see a smile come to their face, that's a good feeling,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Rob. I know it's hard to know when to speak if I'm not here, but I'll just send it to you.
It's literally driving me crazy.
Sorry, guys. My cat's getting comfortable right now.
No, you're all good. You're all good.
Totally good.
So we talked a lot last week about pro shops and how people can be pretty bitchy when it comes to certain drillers. If somebody doesn't like their fit, is it them not giving you enough information? Does that ever come up to where people complain about how the ball is drilled or it doesn't feel right or the pitches aren't right?
Oh, yeah. You hear a little of that and you get a little of everything, someone's not happy. You do what you can to fix it and you make it right. I want a good product leaving my shop. So if the customer's not happy, I'm going to make them happy.
So let's just say when they come in and they want to drill a brand new ball, walk us through the steps for anybody that hasn't really experienced that, which I think most people have here on the show, but we do have a lot of casual fans that end up watching our show or finding it in the algorithm. Walk us through the steps of how you would get somebody's specs and drill up their ball.
Oh, well, first we start talking about their game a little bit, where they like to play. If they have their equipment with them, we'll get on the lanes. I'll watch them throw a little bit, about 5 minutes, well, it takes about 5, 6, 7 shots. You can see how somebody, what their game's at, measure their PAP, and then we go from there. A lot of times I'll make the ball suggestion, unless somebody has their their heart set on a certain bowling ball or something like that. But I will recommend something for them.
So for those that don't know what PAP is, explain that to our noobs.
Positive access point. It's where your ball's going to rotate around, and everything pinned to PAP and BCG to PAP, that makes a big difference on how a ball is going to react for you.
Absolutely. It's almost impossible to successfully lay out a ball for somebody with, any kind of like actual general knowledge of bowling without having that PAP.
Without having that PAP, yes.
Absolutely. I mean, there's the same exact drill pattern for like, say, you and I, Rob, with our completely conflicting games, wouldn't even roll like the same bowling ball.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Fish, what was I going to say about that? A customer comes into the store and let's say they've been bowling for 30 years and they've probably, they get one new bowling ball a year or one ball every 3 or 4 years. And they come into you and they bring in a triple roller and they say, my old guy drilled all 3 of these balls. It fits perfectly. I want my new ball to replicate this exact drilling on this ball layout, everything. Is it a customer to customer decision for you to be like, okay, dude, whatever you want, I'll absolutely give you what you've got? Or are you going to look at his chopped up, meat grinded hand and say, forgive me if this is too forward, but do you truly believe that those fit correctly based off looking at the calluses on your hand? Like, is it a person to person judgment call for you?
Yeah, you could see how dead set somebody is on having it the way they want, Custom is always right. I'll always give him my opinion, but if they're dead set on having it drilled the way they want, then that's what we do.
That's kind of what I figured you were going to say there. It's definitely person to person. When somebody is set in what they want, and who I guess is willing to listen or eager to learn, possibly getting better under the tutelage of somebody more experienced, somebody who's been in the industry for 30 years like you have. Go ahead, Rob.
That being said, are there any people that usually think I don't want to say know more than you, but I mean, there's a lot of house hacks that bowl on house shots and think that they can bowl on tour. Do you have any kind of know-it-alls or anybody that's, anybody that can be difficult to work with?
Not really. Most of my customers are pretty good. You got your weirdos in life, so they walk in the shop and they walk in everywhere. So, it's just the way. That's just life, man.
Are you in any leagues yourself?
I'm in 3 leagues over there at Majestic. Yeah.
What are you averaging right now?
Right now 236.
Nice.
Yeah, didn't you recently pop off a huge number? Was it like 836 or something?
That was what was it? 80? No, it was 801. 801 it was.
Why did I think it was 830? My bad. Oh, nice bowling anyway.
I'll get that 830.
Oh yeah.
What do you like throwing right now? What's in your walk us through your arsenal?
Me, I've been on Columbia staff for about 20 years now. So Ricochet, the Messenger is my favorite ball right now. That Effect Tour is really, really good. So, but got to find what matches the lanes right now. So
true.
Yeah, I'm gonna say I got like 30 balls drilled, but I take 3 of them out right now. So,
Johnny, how you been rolling over there?
Tell you the truth, I'm actually having a fine league season between Howell and Majestic this year. Howell, I'm right around 230, and I'm slightly above that at Majestic, but I've had some massive scores at Majestic this season. I think through the first 17, 16 weeks, however many weeks we've bowled, I've got 3 800s, 2 300s, a 98, and a 99. So
damn.
I always walk into Majestic with a very, very comfortable comfort level, I guess is the best way to put it. And what's crazy about it is as I've gotten older, being 40 now, usually it takes me a little while to get loose. Like on Mondays at Howell, we get 10 minutes of practice and it's only a 4-man team. So I can get, close to 8, 9 shots in practice, maybe even 10 sometimes, no problem. But I walk into Majestic and it's a 5-person league and we only get 6 minutes of practice. So you're lucky if you get 3 shots, but it's so strange to me. And I have always liked bowling centers with higher ceilings. It's why I fell in love with Carolier at a young age, For some reason, every time I'm in a building with a higher ceiling, I feel like my ball is getting through the front part of the lane so much more easily than a bowling center with a low ceiling. For some reason, I feel like I'm throwing it 2 miles an hour harder with half the effort. I'm just very comfortable in bowling centers with high ceilings like Majestic has. And I don't know if anybody else kind of feels that way or has like a little tick or something like that where they feel better in certain atmospheres. But for me, that's definitely it.
Chuck says Matt Wilborn shot 800 at Majestic this week. Good job, Matt. And Matt's here in our chat as well. That's fantastic. I mean, there's a lot of high scores that I've seen posted on Majestic's site and Fish's site too. So, can you say confidently that just about everybody that bowls there in leagues has gotten a ball from you, Fish?
No, not everybody. No, I mean, a lot of guys come there for the leagues and stuff like that from other houses, and they have their own bowl drills and stuff like that.
Gotcha.
Well,
Fish, do you find in your shop, being a Columbia staffer, obviously you're going to push the brands of Brunswick to some degree, but are you still the kind of guy that if somebody comes in and is looking for a Storm product or a Motive product, you have no problem selling them just as easily?
No problem. I got everything on the shelf. I'm
That's
not sending somebody down the street.
I liked that when I came in your store yesterday. I noticed that immediately. Most shops I'll go into where the shop operator is staffed by somebody will usually only stock those brands and then have to send out or order in products from other companies.
Yeah. I got a bunch of guys that like everything. So
do you have anything, any particular Christmas specials or anything going on in the store that you wanted to share?
Christmas specials, yeah, we usually do like you buy a gift card or whatever like that, we'll add 10%. So you buy 200, you get 220.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, so there's a couple of bowls out there that are on special right now. So yeah, you always just come on down and check us out.
Absolutely.
What's been selling the hottest there in the last few months? Because I know we always have seemingly a new ball every month, but what's kind of the hot stuff right now that you're drilling up?
Right now, it's Effectors and Phase AIs. So those are the two hot ones right now.
That Effector looks, that Effector looks really, really good. Yeah. I like what I see from that, and a lot of our guys on our show enjoy the ball as well.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, ironically, it's the ball I used when I shot 300 last week at Majestic.
There you go. So
it's a nice piece for sure.
Are there any balls that are difficult to drill, or are they just pretty much all the same?
Yeah, they're pretty much all the same. Once you understand the core and the numbers and stuff like that, and what your customer wants out of it, then yeah, you're good to go, man.
There was a ball for a little period of time there, Rad Rob, that was difficult to drill. I think it was by 900 Global. It was called, I want to say it was called the Inception DCT. And we found out early on that I'm not sure what the hell was in the middle, whether it was like a titanium ball or some kind of shit in the middle of the ball. But when you would go to drill the interchangeable thumbs, especially the Vice IT system, you couldn't break the titanium. So there's like certain sections of the ball that you couldn't drill those. It says like, do not drill past this many inches into the bowling ball. And we found out real quick, obviously they don't do that anymore because they thought they had a great idea and it wasn't. But
I remember that.
Oh yeah. What a nightmare that was. Like, I never even heard that sound on a jig before.
I tried drilling it into an old ceramic claw ball. I think it was a Jade Piranha C. Yeah. And you had to see that ball bounce in the drill press.
That's, my God, Jade Pro. I wish I could get my hands on one of those.
Yeah. I hope that's one of their next ones.
Do you have a lot of tour pros that kind of recommend you or just love to get drilled by you and drilled by you? That was a great way. That was fantastic.
That's what she said.
Yeah, that's right. Any regular pros that prefer coming to your shop?
Pros, no. I got a few staff members, guys on staff and everything who I drill for. So, yeah.
It's a hidden gem for those of you who haven't been there to Majestic or to Premier Pro Shop. Definitely sneak in there whenever you can. It's a wonderfully run business. And before I before I start rambling something else, Fish, just want to thank you again for being here. I'm sorry it was 2 weeks later than the first time I spoke to you. I didn't realize that we had already had 2 other guests, courtesy of good old Rad Rob. But again, thank you for being here tonight. This is great.
You're welcome.
Can you give us doesn't necessarily off the top of your head one moment you'll never forget in the pro shop, for better or worse?
Oh God. Oh man. Well, and nothing really pops into mind that really stands out. You know, I don't want to say anything bad. But I'll stop.
Fair enough.
Yeah,
I won't put you too much on the spot.
I'm gonna pass on that one, guys.
All right, good enough.
Doesn't want to incriminate himself or anybody else. I mean, that's fair.
You know what? I respect that.
So I see all the Star Wars stuff behind you, and I did a
Yes.
little stalking of your Facebook page and see that you're a Marvel buff too. So, what? Switching from bowling just for a second, what were your thoughts on the last trilogy? Do you? I mean, obviously you can't compare it to the original, but do you think Disney has done a good job, a bad job, given the fact that you're around my age? So, you know, we lived with episode 4, 5, and 6 for 30 years, and then obviously we got the prequel, and then what Disney's done. But what have been your thoughts about how the Skywalker saga ended?
It started good. It started with episode 7. That first one, The Force Awakens, was very, very good.
I agree.
When they switched directors and 8 came out, and he went every direction possible and started changing everything, that's when he lost us.
Trying to save the little freaking animals at the fucking racetrack. Come on,
it wasn't Star Wars,
right?
Stick to the script, man. You know.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know why they made the decision to change halfway through.
The Mandalorian, I love the Mandalorian. Amazing.
You know, ironically, I never watched any Star Wars growing up. I just didn't do it, and I actually, knowing the very, very little bit I do about Star Wars, I watched The Mandalorian, and I was going to ask you about that because I found that extremely enjoyable, that series.
It was great. It was great.
Absolutely.
Do you think they branched out too much and have tried to tell too many different stories? Because not everything they do has been a hit, and some of their series have kind of sucked. But
listen, us old Star Wars fans, we agree. We want it to be about Star Wars. Right. I get that they're trying to get a whole new audience and all that, the new generation involved and stuff like that. But and us old guys, we don't like it, man. We want the old stuff.
Agreed. Yeah, no, I agree. Like, why did they make a movie about how Luke trained Kylo Ren? Like, I would have loved to see that. All we got was like just a little bit of like, oh, I trained him, he fucking killed everybody, and there we go.
Yeah,
like I would have seen a whole movie just dedicated to that. I mean, that would have been fantastic.
Yeah.
Just lost money on the table. And Mosel's right. A lot of their woke stuff is just fucking retarded. I mean, there's no reason why you want to alienate 90% of your. I mean, Marvel did the same shit too.
Yeah.
You know, the Avengers and Iron Man, all that. You know, Thor, all the individual movies, Captain America, everything came out hot, and then they just decided to fuck with everything, and it doesn't make any sense for less than 5% of the population that are woke. But
it's too much with the multiverse too now.
No, agreed.
Out of hand, so.
And like, how do you rein it in, right? Like, how do you close the fucking portal? Like at this point, you're fucked, right? You just you book yourself into a corner, and I don't get it. And you got DCU that's rebooted 15 times. Like, that just doesn't make sense. All I'm looking forward to the new Superman trailer that's coming out tomorrow to see how they handle that one. But you never know. Johnny, have you ever even gotten any comic books or any of the Marvel movies or any superheroes growing up?
I'm a huge Marvel fan.
Okay.
I'm a huge Marvel fan. Never read comics as a kid. Tell you the truth, growing up for me it was just Batman and Superman. Those were my 2 favorites as a kid. But
me too.
Anything Marvel, I mean, anything Marvel. I would say I stopped right around the time the second Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, came out, was probably when I started drifting away.
Yeah.
But all the Captain Americas, all the Spider-Mans, all the Iron Mans, all the Avengers, obviously. I mean, I could probably recite every movie word for word. That's how much I love that Marvel in that capacity.
They're so good. I just rewatched the Avengers last week just to just kind of get back into it again. There's a lot that I forgot about.
Yeah,
And,
it's really just such a brilliant movie. I mean, that one in particular is just a brilliant movie.
even how they intertwine Ant-Man and like all the different movies and having the clips and the credits to tell you about the next story that's coming out. Like it was just those phases were really well done, and I'm looking forward to seeing what they come out with.
Watching Guardians of the Galaxy and learning about the Infinity Stones before actually seeing the Infinity Stones.
Right.
Like the whole thing was just very, very, very well put together from top to bottom.
It was, but then like Fish said, they opened up the multiverse, and here we go. We got 3 fucking Spider-Man, which I like. It was kind of cool to see Tobey Maguire and
that was cool. That was
all
cool.
them get together. But Doctor Strange just got really weird with the last movie, and I'm like, I don't even know what the fuck. Like, which timeline are we on now? And I'm trying to watch. Like, I love watching Loki on Disney Plus. I thought that series was fantastic, but it's like,
that was great.
What the fuck do we do now? Like, which timeline are we on?
I'll tell you what I did not like.
What?
She-Hulk.
Oh yeah, no.
I was not a She-Hulk fan.
No, I agree. That was, I don't know. That was kind of weird to me.
Yeah, they lost me before She-Hulk. I didn't even get to watch that
one. You ain't missing anything.
Yeah.
But fucking like Deadpool and Wolverine, I went to the movies and saw that.
That was amazing.
Like that's the greatest movie of all time.
Oh, it's so good.
It's so good, John. If you don't have Disney Plus, I'll give you my login.
I do. It's already on Disney Plus.
Yes, it is. Yeah, definitely. You have to watch it. You have to do it this weekend. Fuck everybody else.
I'll do it as soon as our show's over.
There you go. It's so good, dude. Yeah, really good. And Deadpool has always been good, but I mean, this one was far and above. And unlike anything they've done with Marvel, with all the fourth wall stuff, it's good. It's really good. But anyways, Dan Young says She-Hulk needs to stay in the kitchen.
Yeah, amen.
If you guys have any questions for Fish, just put them in the chat and we'll read them off. But let's get back to bowling.
I was actually going to ask Fish just because you brought up the messenger. I'm assuming you're talking about the black and gold messenger.
Yes, sir.
Tell me, because I being a Brunswick staffer, I haven't drilled myself a messenger or that new Ricochet. I always wanted a Ricochet before, when it was just Columbia and not the brands of Brunswick, but obviously couldn't throw it. Now I'm really excited to drill it. What do you see as the difference in those two pieces?
Ricochet is a lot more aggressive than a messenger. Messenger's still kind of, it's a mid-tier ball, but that Ricochet, that ball goes, that ball hooks. And it's kind of like the old one, like when you feel it, it kind of feels like there's hair on it or something. It doesn't feel nice and smooth. There's something in there that makes it hook, that makes it bite a little more.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And in my experience, there's never been a bad black bowling ball, so I'm definitely going to be drilling that one next.
Yeah.
All right, good.
So what's your typical style? I mean, do you like sim? Do you like asim? Do you like symmetrical? Do you like pin up, pin down? Like what do you kind of have like your own kind of niche where you like your balls to be drilled?
Yeah, of course. I mean, I have my favorite layout, and that goes on almost every bowling ball. Unless I'm going someplace and I need something specifically for that, then I'm going to drill something differently. But I get my best reaction out of that's what I'm going to do, Yeah. Especially where I'm bowling right now. So.
And what is that layout, Fish? Where is the pin?
Pin's basically right on the bridge, and the CG's just kicked right a little bit. Same thing if it's asymmetrical, the MB will be right next to my thumb, very close.
Gotcha.
And
pretty, I would say, relatively smooth control type drilling, but with plenty of power.
Yes. And I make a lot of my adjustments with my hand before I start.
I was just going to say that.
Like that, yeah.
What's your rev rate roughly, if you know?
I lost a lot of speed now that I'm 50 years old, so I'm still throwing about 16. My rev, I don't know, John. What do you think? You would have a better.
I would say it's got to be somewhere in the low 4s.
All right. Oh, low 4s. Thank you.
Hell, at 50 years old, I wish I could do that at 48. But yeah,
it's got it. It's definitely over 350. I'll tell you that. I mean, Walter Ray is 270 or was 270. I don't know what he is nowadays. But then you figure somebody like a Bill O'Neill is probably in the 450 range. So I'd say you're probably low 4s.
Yeah, thank you.
So you can crank it. That's what Johnny's
stand,
trying to say.
Stand left, throw right.
He can certainly curve it, bro.
So as you've gotten older, what have you kind of had to do, with your body changes and just do you have to like relearn, what you've been used to over the last, 30 years?
It's funny, you don't feel it happening as it's happening.
Really?
I have a lot of video of myself. I taped myself over the years, and I
That's
can
smart.
go back 15 years ago and watch a video of me, and everything was just so much faster and harder. And of course, I was 15 years younger and a lot stronger, So now I recently started working out finally, first time in my life. Well, trying to get in shape, stay a little healthy, a little strong, and trying to stay up with these young guys.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to do, like, seeing Troy Lint and all the troubles he's had with his knee and all that. And it's been so unfortunate to see, especially with the year he had a couple of years ago. And, just knowing that as you get older, you never know what's going to happen. You don't know if your body's going to break down or what. And, I've talked to Parker at length about it too. And, it's funny that you were smart to actually record yourself all those years, because a lot of people don't do that. And, you're kind of ahead of the curve. So kind of what to expect. And, I think when you get guys like, Belmo and Simo and Troop and all the two-handers now, like, we don't know what's going to happen to them when they get older. We don't know what's going to break down because there's no data on that, right? I mean, it's only been the last 20 years or so. So it's just interesting to see what may happen to them when they turn 50 and see what they have to do and adjust. And we've seen Walter throw two-handed and throw 300. I mean, there's really nothing that fucker can't do.
Yeah.
I mean, he's incredible. But I'm looking forward to see, getting some research on the two-handers as the first initial wave gets, on the PBA 50 tour and see kind of how they throw it, because it'll be interesting to see, what happens to them and if their style has to change, especially Simo, who's so low to the line. I just can't imagine his knees holding up and what does he have to compensate for,
think about it. How many 40, 50-year-old guys do you see throwing with two hands in league? I've seen one so far.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it's very rare.
Yeah.
Very rare. Our bodies don't torque like that anymore,
Right.
I've tried it. I don't think I can get it over 12 miles an hour.
Petey's in the house.
What's so funny about that, Rob and Fish? I don't use my thumb.
Right.
But if I try and throw it two-handed, I can't throw it 12 miles an hour.
Yeah.
It's so foreign to me.
Yeah.
I don't understand how they generate the speed. I get the power being a no-thumber. I get it. I mean, I could fucking bank a T-zone from 15 to 1 if I want to. But I can't fathom putting my second hand on the ball and comfortably having a launch speed of 20, 21 miles an hour.
No, it'll never happen.
I can't do that I can barely do that with my thumb in the ball, let alone my thumb out of it and another hand on it. But like you just said about Simo, to tell you the truth, Simo is the only one that I've looked at and said, I'm curious what's going to happen because of what you said, Rob, because his back is so far forward at the waist.
Yeah.
And that's not only a lot of torque on the legs, it's the lower back. And then it's also having enough strength and power, still being a young guy that he is, to get through it at the bottom.
Right.
One of the biggest things that we always taught was you don't want to get too steep when you get to the foul line, because if you're too steep going into the line and you're throwing it into the lane rather than onto the lane, that's where most of the thumb down chicken wings come from. So, but to have somebody who is so far forward, so far past, the chin above the knee at the completion of the slide, he's the one I do worry about. When I look at guys like Belmo, when you look back at Belmo 20 years ago, or we'll say 2005 to 2008 Belmo, when he came on tour, he was a firecracker getting to the foul line compared to what he is now.
Yeah.
True.
I mean, he's my age and he is very gentle to the line. There's not a lot of moving parts. There's really nothing that looks physically demanding. Same thing with Kyle Troop. Kyle has a very simple, basic two-handed release. Dio Bernard on the left side of the lane is just to name a few.
Yeah.
But like Butch always says, or Ocho always says, it's an ace. You're taking an asymmetric thing and you're almost making it symmetric. You don't have the 15 pounds on one side of the body while you're balancing it with your trail leg and your balance arm. you're now cradling the ball and everything is more synchronized getting to the foul line. So I don't really think we're going to see any. You're not going to have to worry about any thumb injuries or any. It seems like it's working.
Johnny, have you really tried to like seriously, practice it and maybe think about changing your styles, or just you like what you do?
No, I enjoy what I do, Rob. I enjoy being no thumb. For me, I always had a pretty bad loop in my swing when I would have my thumb in the ball, and my hand would always hurt. Like we were just talking about fish in the shop. I mean, my hand was the one that always looked like chopped liver. It didn't matter what pitch I used, who drilled it, oval cut the front, oval cut the back, do this, do that, shorten it, Sarge Easter, you name it, conventional, tried everything. Hand always hurts.
Well, you get your backswing pretty high up there for no thumb, John.
He really does. Yeah.
I didn't realize that until somebody told me, and I actually started watching it on video. And you want to talk about the biggest mind fuckery of all time for me is I don't feel like my backswing reaches my ass. I feel like it never, ever, ever leaves my side.
Yeah.
And so in turn, I'm telling myself to try and throw it harder. Meanwhile, I look at video and it's at my fucking head.
And like, what is that? Like, how do you not notice that when you're throwing? Like, I don't get it.
Because I'm focusing on the cradling of it, because I'm a no thumber, but I rest the ball on my forearm, like on the inside of my wrist.
Right.
So I'm never thinking about the height of the backswing. I'm just thinking like there's a point where if I go too high with the backswing, my hand will no longer be under it and I'm going to drop it in my backswing.
Gotcha.
So it's like, but I guess that point is just obviously it is way higher than what I feel, because what's happening and what I feel are two completely different things, which sucks.
That usually happens. You won't feel it when your swing is loose. You're not trying to stop it at a certain point. It just goes where it wants to go. So, and feeling real are two different things.
I'm still surprised at how straight you still are through your swing since you've gotten bulkier, John, with your lats and all that and your traps, like, and your arms. Like, it's at some point, is there like, you have to say, all right, I can't get any bigger than this because it's going to fuck up my whole delivery?
I got about the size I am now a little over 2 years ago while I was still in Vegas. So I've already gone through what happens in the process of putting mass in places that it doesn't belong for a bowler.
Right.
I hit a stint where if I bowled 210, it was a great game. Like like the thought of ever getting the ball to go left off my hand was just like inconceivable. I couldn't even imagine it. It was so horrific. And I just kind of figured out a way, like, in other words, basically what happens is my targeting has changed, because where I'm standing now, I have to understand that my ball is way further. Like if I'm standing on 20, my shoulder is over, say, like 14 or 15 now.
Mm-hmm.
So to compensate for it, like to play 10, I actually have to stand on 25 now. If that makes any sense. To be able to get my ball to say 10 at the arrows. No, it's somehow, some way. I've been very fortunate. I've always been an athlete. I was a baseball player for a long time. I'm a golfer, and I kind of I like Chris said, I'm 100% a field player, and I kind of just feel what needs to be done. So if anything, I guess the only thing that really has happened is I'll try and loop it around my back. So like my swing will go further away from my body and then retuck at the last second, so it doesn't have to remain there, which is uncomfortable.
And it is, and I'm sure it's something that's hard to get used to. As your body changes, trying to kind of figure out, all right, how much is this going to fuck up my delivery, or what do I have to do to fix it, and am I going to be consistent? And
it's exactly the same as somebody who's lost 100 pounds. I mean, you take a bowler, say somebody who's on the bigger side, and they're a good player, and then they come in and all of a sudden their 46-inch waist is a 34, and they've gone from 280 to 180. Their game is going to suck horribly for a little while, because they're going to have a gap between their oblique and their arm that you've never even seen before in the early going, because you have to get used to what you're wrapped in.
Yeah, most guys is like that lose the weight. They're still swinging their arm as if the weight was still there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. I've seen it a million times, or not. I've seen it a bunch of times with people that have gone through massive body changes, whether it be putting on muscle, losing weight, losing it around the midsection, whatever it may be. So it's always bowling, as we all know, is always a work in progress. There's always something to learn every time you're out there. You never ever will go out there and bowl and not learn something about yourself. That's one of the coolest things about it. It's why I kind of enjoy weightlifting for the same reason. There is no end. There is no, okay, this is it. Everything is perfect. There's no such thing. There's always something to work on and be better at.
And it's really a mind fuck as you get older. For me especially, where 9 years ago when I lost almost 70 pounds, I was in the best shape of my life, and I, here I am 9 years later and put the weight back on and more. Mentally, I still think I can do the same shit, but when I get out there and I'm like, oh fuck, like I can't. Obviously, my body's like, no, fuck you. There's no way you're going to be able to do that. It's such a mind fuck because mentally we always think we're fucking, 25 years old and we're going to fucking, rule the world. But, when you get 30, 40, 50, it's like, fuck, dude. Like,
that's it. Mind says yes, body says no.
Exactly. And you gotta commend guys like Walter and Parker and Duke and guys that were able to bowl, well into their 50s and 60s, because that's hard to do, especially at a premium level. And Parker, has always stayed in shape, and maybe that's just his body type. I don't know, or maybe he works hard at it. That's not one of the things I actually asked him, when I talked to him last week. But it's just hard. Like Fish says, is we get older mentally, we think we're like on top of the fucking world, and you get out there and you're like, oh shit.
Everybody reaches a point where they learn they're not invincible. It happens. It has to happen to everybody. And like, I'll use myself here just simply as nice, John.
I'm gonna let that one go because it's birthday. So
it's Speroni's birthday. Happy birthday!
You didn't know that, dude?
I did not. I haven't been on
Jesus
Facebook.
Christ, I swear. You've known her for 30 years.
All right. Thank you for making me feel worse.
It's the same fucking day every year, John.
Anything else you feel like you need to say right now?
No, I'm good, thanks.
Okay. Thank you for ruining my train of thought. What was I saying?
I don't know. I have no idea.
You forgot what I was saying. It was so good too.
I bet it was. It usually is.
When we come to a realization.
Yeah, fuck. Oh, damn it. I'll get it back.
I was talking about getting older and not be able to do
Thank
shit
you.
anymore.
Thank you. You got it.
All right.
No, my like I said, everybody eventually learns when that they're not invincible. I'm a heavy drinker. I've been a heavy drinker for 20 years, and my drink of choice is tequila. But up until about when I was 37, because my ex is 13 years older than me. So this is about 3 years ago. I would notice that when her and I, because she also liked to drink tequila, we would go out and we would drink from like 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. We would go home, smash on some food. She would take shots of tequila and she would drink 4 ounces of water in between each shot. And her and I also, both being cigarette smokers, I found out through obviously just doing it over and over, she would never, ever, ever smoke a cigarette the day after drinking. And would never ever drink longer than 5 hours at a time. And I finally would say to her, like, what's going on with you? Like, and she would say, because when I hit 40 years old, I couldn't do what I used to do anymore. I was completely unable to go out and party till 2, 3 in the morning, get 3 hours of sleep, and then go out like nothing happened the next day and go to work. And she would say, if I drink longer than 5 hours straight with you or anybody else, I'm out of commission for 48 hours. And now I'm 40 years old, and my favorite night of the week is Tuesdays at Majestic. I'm there with all my friends, and I get loaded. And cool. When I say loaded, I get loaded, and I feel pretty much like shit until Thursday. And it's crazy because 10 years ago, I would have never, ever, ever in a million years said that. But my check engine line happened to come on in like the last 2 years or so. And now I'm sitting here saying, fuck, I should have fucking listened to Rochelle 3 years ago because I wouldn't be feeling like this right now.
And honestly, when you hit when I hit 40, everything went downhill. Like I got shit I never even heard of before. Like, really? Like it's somehow like the fucking switch just went off. And I'm like, oh, Christ. You had the same problem, Fish?
Yeah.
It's crazy, right? Like,
yeah.
It's just amazing what happens to you when you hit 40. It's just a magic number, I guess. It's like,
dude, like I'll be sitting on the couch on like today, and I have to go to the bathroom. So I'll say to myself, if I stand up and walk to the bathroom right now, am I going to have a heart attack on the way there? It's like, is it safer for me to just sit here and hold the piss and not die? Or do I take the chance? That's how bad it's gotten.
And you're in shape. That's the sad part. Like that's, but no, it's
No, I'm the furthest thing from in shape. I lift heavy weights, which means I have a horrible heart, horrible conditioning. I just lift heavy weights and I fuck up. You watch me walk up one flight of stairs, dude. It's embarrassing.
Oh, so you're on the Ocho weight program.
Absolutely.
All right, that's fair. No leg days.
Legs. I'm not getting on stage. I'll train my calves so my calves look okay in a bathing suit.
Right. So, all right. So, Fish, what have you done anything different to just stay in shape, or have you always been skinny?
No.
Like, you're fairly tall and skinny, right? So
yeah, I always had a good metabolism. I was blessed with that. So,
God, you bastard. I wish I was like that until my early 20s. I was tall and skinny growing up, and I don't know what the fuck happened. I guess I got married and put on 6,000 pounds. But I mean, I don't.
I did get up there. I got up to like almost 230, and I was like, yeah, again, a little too much. We need to back off a little bit. So,
right.
Yeah. Oh, but now I lost the weight. I want to put a little back on. So I said, let's put on some muscle now.
There you go.
That's the way to do it, and that's what I'm going to do after the Super Bowl. My wife's like, "Why do we wait?" I'm like, "Because I know I'm going to fucking eat like shit during the holidays." Like. Yeah, but it's just your one day. You can eat great the rest. I'm like, all right, there is some credence to that, but
that's it. New Year's resolution. Start after Super Bowl.
Yeah, after exactly. After
you give all the other resolutioners time to get in the gym and out of the gym because they'll be there for what? How long? At least the first 2 weeks of January. So then yeah. So you go after the Super Bowl. What is that, February 3rd or whatever it is?
Chuck said Popeye's chicken happened. No, that's true. Yeah, no, that's fair, Chuck. That's hey, I'm going on a cruise in the middle of January, so free food on the fucking boat for 6 days. Yeah, there's no fucking way I'm going to diet until then.
Yeah, I understand, man.
Super Bowl.
You know, Super Bowl.
Super Bowl's a good date for you. It's a good date.
It is. But no, I was always a cardio guy when I tried to lose weight, and the more I've been researching and seeing John and Ocho and some others, like I'm definitely going to come up with some kind of weight program because you obviously will burn more quicker and put on muscle at the same time as opposed to cardio. You're just fucking and not to say cardio isn't important because I think
the only problem with cardio, and I've used this before and I'll say it again now, the only problem with cardio is you have to do more every time to achieve the same thing. So like, for instance, you wake up in the morning, you're going to go to the gym, you're going to go walk on the treadmill for 45 minutes, right? You bring a couple bottles of water with you. On your way, you're like, oh man, I didn't eat. My stomach's kind of turning. I got to get something in my system. I want to eat something that I think is going to help provide for my workout, right?
Right.
So you stop and you buy a protein bar, or you buy like a Cliff Bar at the grocery store or at the gas station on the way there. That Cliff Bar, let's say it houses 360 calories. It's got 50 grams of carbs. It's got 20 grams of protein and 15 grams of fat. You eat that bar on the way to the gym. You get on that treadmill. You walk for 45 minutes. You know what you just did? You burnt off the Cliff Bar.
Yeah, right.
So if you'd have just stayed home, drank black coffee, and not gone to the gym, you would have effectively done the exact same thing.
That is pretty fucked up. Yeah, when you put it like that.
So the biggest thing for you or anybody that actually wants to lose weight, it's very simply this. You have to be in a caloric deficit. So if you're maintenance weight, let's say you eat 3,000 calories a day. If you eat 3,000 calories a day to maintain your weight, because I eat approximately 3,800 a day.
That's breakfast for me.
Right. All right. So let's say you eat $4,000 a day and you're 250 pounds and you wake up the next day and you eat 4,000 calories a day and you're always 250 pounds. If you now, starting on Super Bowl, if you eat 3,000 calories a day, you will lose approximately 45 pounds in 7 months, depending on how much water you drink.
Right.
It's very simply that. The same way if Fish wants to put on muscle, the only way to put on muscle is to eat in a caloric surplus. Yep. You have to eat more if you want to get bigger. Mm-hmm. You have to eat every 2.5 hours. You have to make sure you get 6-7 meals in a day. You have to be above your maintenance level in the calorie area. And the easiest way to do it, I'll give you a whole plan, Rob, if you actually want it. But that's the biggest thing. It's not crazy, insane amounts of cardio. Yes, cardio is good for your cardiovascular health. But in general, when it comes to weight loss, it's putting yourself in a caloric deficit. And that's how you do it.
See, I liked it because I was able, like when I did DDP yoga, I did DDP yoga and Weight Watchers and lost almost 70 pounds in less than a year. I want to say it was something like 6 months maybe. And, I was able to I actually was going to be an instructor for DDPY. And as I was doing the routine, training sessions, bringing other people in, running them through the whole routine. I mean, I was doing shit that I'd never been able to do before. My core was fantastic, but I mean, I can do an hour workout and, not even be sweating. Right. And it's like, now I sweat when I put my fucking shoes on. It's ridiculous. I don't want to get back. Like, I don't want to say I don't want to put the work in, but I'm 48 and that was 9 years ago. And it was a lot easier to do it back then than it is fucking now. So I got to kind of figure, like, I got to kind of take it slow and, they always say it's not a fucking sprint, it's a marathon. I get tired of fucking hearing that shit. It's because, I mean, you got to do it for the rest of your life.
And
I don't want to take on too much at one time. I don't want to fucking go balls out and try to kill myself. And I don't want to lose. If I could lose 50 pounds, I'd be happy. Like, I don't have to lose 100. Like, if I lost 100, I'd be like 220.
Dude, it's obviously reachable, attainable. You've done it before. And the first time you did do it, you made a decision to do it and you committed to it.
Right.
Whatever the reason was, you already know that you can do it. So don't ever force yourself to do it. Let it happen. It's the same way it happened with me 6 years ago. I was literally in Death Valley, California with Rochelle having a picnic in the back of her truck, staring at the mountains. And I looked over at her and I said, I want to be fucking sexy. Like, I want to look at myself and like myself. I'm fucking done. This is bullshit. I'm done.
Right.
And I started. And it was the fucking greatest thing I ever did, because had I not done that, I'd be dead by now. No joke.
Well, I think once you start to see results and you like what you see, whether it's gaining or losing, then it helps motivate you a little bit. You start getting into it a little bit more.
Absolutely.
That's a really great point. And yeah, I mean, me being who I am, I got cocky the first time. Like, I lost all this fucking weight. I started fucking, sowing my oats. And I'm like, I didn't like mentally who I had become. Even though I was happy with myself physically, I was kind of a douchebag. And I don't know how to avoid that, right? Like, I don't know. Maybe I need to see a fucking shrink about it. Who knows?
Meanwhile, I have the TV on in the background, and Action Jackson is on a State Farm commercial bowling right now.
No shit.
Yeah.
What are the odds of that? That's fucking.
Yeah, it's awesome.
But anyways, now it's dude, life's a fucking mind fuck every day, right? Like, you just got to kind of figure out how to navigate through it with the least amount of fucking damage done to you or anybody else. And
yeah.
It's just it's not easy. It's not easy at all. And you know that from firsthand experience, John, with all the troubles that you had and trying to get over your addictions and all that. Like,
oh, dude, I mean, it's everybody's got to do it for themselves. And I kind of went through that process too, where I'm going to tell you right now, this is horrible to say, but it's the truth. I mean, when you go through a life change, a weight loss or a weightlifting life change, if you automatically have to get it through your brain the first day, you are going to lose so many friends of yours forever.
right.
And when I say friends, you're gonna stop going to bars at night with your buddies. You're gonna stop going out to play golf midweek. You're gonna stop hanging out with people that want to toss a few back or smoke a joint or do shit that is not bringing anything to the life you're trying to create for yourself. And a lot of times what'll happen is you have to separate yourself from people you've loved and respected and been friendly with for a long time, but realize they're not offering anything on your journey. And they always say weightlifting and bodybuilding is the loneliest sport in the world. You fucking bet your ass it is. Those guys eat, sleep, and train, and that's it. They don't do anything else. They don't go out. They don't party. They don't go to KFC. They have to set alarms for every 2 hours to eat. It is the most lonely life there is. And there's only about 0.1% of this entire population that's that fucking crazy to actually want to put themselves through torture every single day and then be alone at the end of it. But
So
it's
where's your happy medium then?
well, I mean, like
what's your happy
I
medium?
found a nice happy medium. I love being drunk. I love being drunk. So what I do now is I choose the night that I want to be drunk. I typically weightlift 6 days a week. I will always not train on Wednesdays because I know I'm not going to be training effectively after my drinking night on Tuesdays.
Right.
So I've always made that I've made that in my subconscious since moving home and at least these last 16 weeks. But every once in a while I'll have a few drinks on a Monday, but never enough to inhibit my workout on Tuesday. But for me, the balance is I still eat what I enjoy eating, but I make sure that I reach my macros for my protein every day.
Yeah.
I make sure that I eat approximately 1.5 grams of protein for each pound of my own body weight. So I'm trying to eat in proximity of 250 grams of protein every single day. And only a little bit of that is supplemented with like core power shakes or lean body shakes. Most of that is just steak, eggs, rice, chicken, and bacon. But like I still eat bread. I still am a Reese's peanut butter cupaholic. I eat an entire fucking bag of them in one sitting.
Yeah.
I eat an entire row of double stuffed Oreos. But the one thing that I do is when I want to gain weight, I know that I have to eat about 600 calories more a day than I usually do for my maintenance weight. So like my goal by the end of February is to get to about 250, 255 pounds. Right now I'm 230. 230, it's actually 233. So I want to put on about another 20 pounds or so by February. I'm probably not going to get there, but by the end of February, then I immediately go into the deficit. So by the time beach season rolls around, I'm back to about 215, and that's the weight that I'm comfortable at, and that's my easily most maintainable weight. But I don't even really know like how we got into that right now. But basically, the whole gist of it is when you're on the weight loss journey or the weight gain journey, it's a very lonely place at first, but the people who you need in your corner will still be there for you at the end.
Right. Fish, do you have any vices or anything that ever hold you up?
Yeah, but
sure.
Again,
not that you have to
answer.
right. I mean, we all go through shit, right? We all have our shit that we have to.
Well, put it this way, Fish. I mean, you don't have to identify the vice, but obviously, whatever it was, you figured them out.
Yeah, sure, of course. You know, everybody has their demons. You know, once you defeat your demons, you know what they are.
Without telling us what your vice was, what was your light bulb moment? Like, you know what? I gotta fucking rid this of my life, and here's why, and here's how I'm gonna do it.
Well, it's almost, you're lucky to be alive moment, and then you say that's it. You got to stop. We're done. Time to move on. You look at yourself in the mirror, and you're like, "That's me." You don't even recognize yourself, and that was it for me. I said, "That's it. Never again." And that was God. I was a young fish in my early 20s. So
that's good that you figured it out.
Yeah, no. That's awesome, man. Thanks for sharing with us.
That is great that you figured that out early. And speaking of which, Troy Lynn, what's up, brother? We love you too.
Hope you're feeling better, homie.
Troy obviously went through his demons too, later in life and got that figured out and decided he didn't want to do that shit anymore either. And, turned himself completely around. He's a success story because of it. So, but there's obviously people that don't figure that out. I always wonder, Johnny, like how great do you think Pete Weber would have been better if he didn't get fucked up a lot? Or do you think that helped him be better? Do you ever talk to him about it?
Personally, yes. Obviously I have a very deep relationship with Pete. Without getting into too much detail of somebody else's personal life when they're not even here to vouch for themselves.
Sure.
I will say this. When Pete's life is structured, in other words, when Pete has somebody that's in his corner all the time, like he had for a very long time, somebody that kept him grounded and monitored him, it was the most successful years of his bowling career. You go back from like, I mean, obviously he's been great since the '80s, but
Yeah.
you go watch P. Weber from like, Jesus, 1990 to 2005. I mean, he was unstoppable. I mean, there was only a couple guys out there like Norm and Walter that could even bowl with him. But I think that you know, there's some people that need people to help them with their demons, and when Pete has those people around, yes, he's unstoppable. I think that maybe at some point the alcohol may have helped him in his younger years. I can't again, I can't speak from now, but from what I've observed, I would simply say that I think that when he has structure and he has, you know, that really really good woman in his corner, he's the best version of himself. And that all spawns from his mother, because his mother is, you know, one of the greatest people to ever walk the planet. And I think that, you know, his love for his parents, obviously Dick as well, but his love for his mother is like untouchable.
Right.
So I think that he craves that a lot, or that kind of like, I know I have somebody like this in my corner at all times, taking
I
care of
appreciate
me.
you sharing that. Dr. Ocho's in the house. Not
Hey,
literally,
Och.
but he's here figuratively. What's going on, Och? Everybody's an Ocho fan. Fish, growing up, you're 2 years older than me, but I mean, were you always into bowling?
No, not always. My mom got me into bowling when I was very young. You know, she was a stay-at-home mom, so she would bowl her afternoon leagues, and I would grow up and be in the nursery and stuff like that, and bowl my leagues. Gave it up for baseball. Gave baseball up for something else, and in high school, I was like, I don't want to go to gym anymore. So, they got bowling? I bowled before. Let's go to bowling gym. And that was it. I got hooked.
Do you remember where you bowled?
Gil Hodges Lanes in Brooklyn.
Oh my God!
Wow.
Yeah. Actually, related to John Laspina through marriage. Me and Joey have the same aunt, my father's sister.
Really?
Yeah, through distant cousins and stuff like that. Yeah. John was great to me growing up.
What a small world.
Yeah,
it really is.
Mm-hmm.
It really
You're
is.
gonna be at the company party on Christmas Eve?
Oh yeah, of course.
You got to share that story with my dad. He'll get the biggest kick out of it.
Yeah, your dad's from Brooklyn originally, wasn't he, John?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and John Laspina and family own Maple Lanes. I call John Laspina Uncle John. I mean, I used to be the capital sales rep for Joe. I mean, when I was working for Brunswick. I mean, that's about the longest family friendship that exists with the Petraglia and Laspinas, as far as my family goes.
That's cool. That really is cool. Yeah, I mean, it's a super small world. Parker actually has ties to where I live now, in Middle Tennessee. He's got family and relatives that have been here for 50, 60 years, and Sydney decided she wanted to go to Vanderbilt here in Nashville. So it was kind of fun talking about Parker. Knew everywhere. He knew the city I lived in. He knew the city I used to live in. He's very, very familiar with this area. I thought that was cool, but I'm like, yeah, it really is a small world. Like, I grew up in Connecticut. Parker grew up in New Jersey. He had family here. I met my wife from here, and then we have that tie together. Plus bowling.
And you know what it is, Rob?
It's fucking weird.
Even though there's millions and millions of bowlers, the bowling world is very, very small.
True.
Everybody knows everybody, basically to some extent, in the bowling world.
Yes.
It's the coolest thing in the world. Fish, you know this. I mean,
yeah, you can go into any bowling alley and you're going to know somebody there.
Absolutely, every single time, and people from all walks of life. Yeah, it's so you never know who you're going to meet in a bowling alley. Martha says that all the time when she's tending bars. She goes, I never in a million years would have thought that walking into a bowling alley to work the bar that I would meet so many fascinating and different people. It's like, yeah, everybody goes there to literally have a good time. Nobody gives a shit about anything else. They go there to have a good time or better themselves at the sport, whatever it is.
We've said every week since we started the show, like, there's just something different about the bowling community and bowlers that are different than any other sport. It's a closer knit group, I guess. It's your blue collar guys, right? It's just it's a family sport. It always has been.
Yeah, it's for everybody.
Well, you're with these people in your league for what, 10 months, 9 months out of the year?
Absolutely.
Every week?
Sure.
It makes them.
And if you're bowling in the summer, you may see him every week.
Exactly.
It's crazy. Like we always talk on the Showfish, the amount of relationships I have throughout my life just simply because of being in bowling centers.
Bowling, yeah.
My goodness. I mean, it's incredible. It's really, really incredible.
Mm-hmm.
My absolute best friend on the planet that I met in '88 in our junior league, and we're still like brothers to this day. Almost 40 years later, it's like we met at the bowling alley. He's my literal, like, he's my family. It's just it's truly amazing what this sport kind of brings to everybody, and which is why we're fighting so hard to keep it going. Which is why we talk about string pins a lot and all that. And it's like, what do the centers have to do to stay viable and to stay open? Well, they're going to do whatever it takes. And we don't ever want bowling to go away. We don't want every center to have to shut down or convert into this entertainment complex with 4 lanes and the rest of it's fucking laser tag and arcades and shit. We don't want that to happen, right? We want leagues to still be around. We want to culture the new crop of bowlers, that like we were when we were kids or whatever. And we want our kids to go through that too. And it's always been a family oriented sport. And it should remain that way. Right, Johnny?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the only way you pass it on to the next generation is introducing them to it.
Exactly.
Again, we're going to see a lot more evolution in the sport. You just mentioned the string pins, and we've talked about this a million times. Whether you're for them or you're against them, one of the hardest things in the world to find right now is a certified A mechanic to work on bowling machines.
Right.
They are so few and far between. So not only are you saving from a proprietary standpoint, are you saving X amount of dollars on having a certified A mechanic on hand at all times? You're also saving in the parts as well as the labor on the simple mechanisms that a Dave and Buster's employee can fix. It's there's 2 sides to that coin, like we can do with anything else. But yes, you're exactly right.
I haven't bowled on string pin yet to have an opinion. So
there's one at Rev Rates. I bowled a tournament at the old Stelton Lanes. I think it's called Circle now, or yeah. Very, I'm not gonna lie, man. They were fine. They were enjoyable.
Okay.
You're not gonna carry the off hits. You're not gonna get messengers. You're gonna leave a lot more shaker corner pins. But what
a lot of flat 10s. Flat 7s.
What I did find interesting was when they turned the lanes on for practice, had they not said your lanes are on for practice, nobody would have started practicing.
It's like a Tesla.
Because
you don't even hear the fucking
nothing turns on.
Yeah, you run over by a Tesla because you can't hear the fucking thing coming down the road.
You can't hear anything. It's like, what is happening?
That's funny.
That's weird.
That is kind of a funny anecdote. But we've had pros on the show that have come on and said they tried it, like Ryan Schaefer and guys like that. And he had a comprehensive breakdown of what he experienced. Boog as well, and it's a consistent. It's based on consistency. You're not going to spray and pray. You're going to have a focus on shot making. But like they said, a lot of flat 10s, a lot of flat 7s, depending on what side you're on, and Shafe almost had that messenger that was like 3 inches away, which was like a fucking anomaly. Unfortunately, it kept him from winning. But if it's gonna help the sport stay alive, and USBC, give Chad Murphy credit or whoever advised him, because I don't think he's fucking smart enough to come up with the idea. But
don't ever ask me to give credit to him again.
All right, we will not give any credit to that son of a bitch. But no, give the USBC credit as an organization to be ahead of it and to put a lot of research into it, as well as AMF and Brunswick, who have their own lanes and pin setters. It's if the tour ends up going that way, then we're all going to fucking deal with it. You're going to have the fucking assholes like we talked about last week that I'm never going to fucking bowl again, or how can you ruin the sport, and it's whatever. Fine. Fucking, we don't need you in our sport anyway if you're going to be that fucking thin-skinned about this. Like, bowling is fucking bowling. It's a sport. It's fun. It's a recreation. It is whatever you want it to be. But if it's going to help the mom and pop centers stay alive, that don't have the money like Bolero, and if it's going to help, keep bringing people to the tour, if the tour goes to it, they're all on the same playing field. And the cream of the crop is still going to be on the fucking top. You're still going to have the top 5 or 6 guys like Simo and Belmo and Troop and EJ and
Yeah,
all that.
nothing
It's not going to change.
has ever changed the elite. The only thing that's ever happened over time is certain people have gotten better because of the evolution. Like for instance, I always bring up to the two cases predominantly. Number one is Walter Ray Williams Jr. Now I know Walter Ray was Player of the Year in 1986. I know he had 5 titles prior to 1993. But in 1993, he won 7 titles. And then we all know what happened to Walter Ray from 1993 up until all the way to the present.
Yeah.
So of his 47, 48 career standard titles, 43 of them came from 1993 and beyond. And
So-
1993 was the year of the Teal Rhino Pro, the
Right.
Nitro R Square. Like,
yeah.
hello, Resin. Hello, Walter Ray.
Right.
Norm Duke wins the 1983 Cleveland Open at the age of 18. He wins his next title in the early 90s, but then Gung Ho, Player of the Year in 1994 with the Ultimate Weapons and the Beast and whatever other balls. And then now all of a sudden, Norm's got 37 titles. Then you take the guys like a Pete Weber and a Parker Bone. Parker Bone had 10 titles prior to 1994. He's got 10 titles in the fucking proactive era and the particle era. He's got 10 titles with fucking anything you give to him. Pete Weber's got 10 titles with urethane, purple angles. He's got 10 titles with, or 20 titles with resin. I mean, Brian Voss was another one that just kicked the shit out of everybody in the 80s and the 90s and did just fine when resin came out. And then you look at some other guys that resin hurt, but were never really the cream of the crop. Like Mike Albee was always okay with the early days of resin, but it hurt guys like Jimmy Keith. It hurt guys like Kelly Kaufman.
Yep.
It hurt guys like Rudy Kazamakis. It hurt the guys that could do things to urethane that everybody could do with resin.
Resin, yeah.
I think Amoletto's in that category too.
Absolutely. He's
Anybody who got around it and spun it with urethane lit him up. And once
Yeah.
reactive came and that thing started 90 degrees, hooking 90 degrees, it hurt them. It hurt them big time.
100%. And the same thing is
1000%.
going to happen moving forward. There's going to be the best in the world are still going to kill you on string pins or free fall, but there are going to be some people whose entry angle and ball roll just hit the pins in such a way that maybe they don't leave as many flat 10s, and now they're tipping the 6 pin into the 10 and they're striking.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, here's another prime example, Rad Rob, Mike Scroggins. I bring him up every single week.
Poor Mike.
Mike Scroggins was on tour for 11 or 12 years prior to his breakout year once they introduced sport patterns in 02.
Yeah.
He won the 1992 ARC Sacramento Open, his only title in his entire career. He had never won more than $30,000 in a single season. And that's when the tour was long. They had stops all fucking year long.
Yeah.
Then he comes out, sport shots are invented. Goodbye, Ricky Ward. Goodbye, Mike Albee. Goodbye, Jason Couch. Goodbye, Parker Bone. Enter Mike Scroggins, Peter Hernandez, Chris Hayden, Rick Lawrence. And just, if you had that kind of game, all of a sudden you're like the best lefty in the world.
Yep.
It's there's always going to be something that feeds a small percentage of bowlers that pushes them above and beyond where they are.
So who did better with those gaudy fucking gold pins? I hated those fucking pins.
They really fucked up there because they only made them about 4 ounces heavier than a standard pin. So
Right.
you couldn't even really tell that they were heavier.
I just couldn't even stand looking at them. But I mean, do you think there was anybody that had more success with those that would normally have them?
No, not really.
Okay. I mean, you're a bowling fucking
Yeah, just based off
vernacular.
going back to the few years they used them during like when we were on CBS in between the ABC and ESPN.
They're so bad.
Nobody really showed me anything different on the gold pins.
That's fair. That's fair enough. And we've always kind of argued on the show, like what would kind of eliminate people from the equation. Like if pins end up going significantly heavier, like who would still do well and who wouldn't? Well, obviously your higher rev rates wouldn't have any problem, but you would lose 80%, 90% of your fucking league bowlers, right? Like,
well, if you made the pins heavier in league, you would lose bowlers left and right.
Yeah.
Because just simply by making a 3 pound 6 ounce pin, say 4 pounds 2 ounces, you eliminate approximately 1 to 2 hits a game. So your guy that goes in there with his chest bumped out that he's at because he's averaging 215 with his 2-ball roller, all of a sudden you take away that one extra double a game and he comes back and now he's only averaging 195 because
so
the pins are
Ocho.
heavier.
That would directly affect Ocho.
It certainly could. It could affect somebody like Ocho. He's a prime example. But Ocho's a little bit different because he doesn't care. He's just there to have fun. But
I know. I just like busting
you
the balls.
take your regular average Joe league bowler that loves to bowl league, and all of a sudden he's leaving 5 pins. He's going to be embarrassed. He's not going to want to bowl anymore. It's not fun anymore.
Yeah.
Neil Feingold at Howell Lanes always said, bowlers are always going to bitch no matter what. But if they strike and they bitch, they come back. If they can't strike and they bitch, they don't come back. So that's kind of like the gist of where I was going with that.
Yeah, no one wants to pay to bowl bad, you know?
Exactly.
That's a great point.
Half the time people are afraid to bowl a tournament. They're like, they already know they have no chance. And then you finally get the guys like, all right, yeah, I'm going to bowl the regional this weekend. And the first thing out of their mouth after you say, oh, man, good for you. Good luck. No, I'm not expecting anything. I'm just doing it for the experience.
Oh, I fucking hate
It's like, if you say that to me, you may as well just give me your entry fee and we'll go practice. Like you're already telling yourself you have no chance. Go out there and say to yourself, my goal is to win. And if you finish last, you say, hey, I'm going to try and win next week.
Alex Bermuda says they have the gold pins in Dublin, California. They have monthly tournaments on those. Interesting. That's interesting.
Yeah, Matt Menente used to run a King of the Hill at Carolier Lanes a while back, and he would put up the gold pins for the step ladder. So I had the pleasure of bowling on him a few times too. It was cool back then to bowl on the PBA pins, but again, they didn't fall any differently than the standard white ones do.
Really? You didn't think so at all?
No. I'll tell you, my most hated bowling pin of all time was when they decided to try and make synthetic pins, the company Twister.
Oh, fuck yeah, it's Twister pins. Yeah.
You want to talk about taking one of the most beautiful sounds in the world and making it one of the ugliest sounds in the world.
Agreed.
The Twister pins did that. That would be like me like walking around clinking my golf clubs in my bag, which is another one of my favorite sounds of all time, but they're made of fucking wood.
Yeah.
Like that's not fun. That's not fun anymore to listen to.
Speaking of golf, Ryan Miles wants to know, hey Fish, love you bro, what made you want to get into golf?
My father-in-law. He would always tease me and say how I should play golf. He used to bowl a lot back in the day, and he completely gave it up for golf. I'm not going to do that, but he was always saying, you got to quit bowling and come play golf. Quit bowling and come play golf. Oh, I got a bunch of hand-me-down golf clubs, and I'm very competitive. If I start something, I got to be the best at it, you know? And
I love that.
I'm not happy until I get there. So
I love that. And a lot of the younger generation don't have that like competitive spirit anymore. Like it's very few and far between. It's funny how I don't know if that started with just fucking handing out participation trophies and shit, and winning didn't fucking matter, and we don't keep score and all that. You know what I mean? Like I think that's how we fucking lost that in a lot of the younger people. But I love that, dude. I love I hate losing anything. Like I don't fucking care what it is.
Coming up bowling, everyone was better than me, and that's the way it was in golf. Everybody was better than me, and I hated it. The hours that I put into practicing, it's ridiculous, you know. Every single day for hours and hours and hours, shots upon shots, games upon games, and hitting golf ball after golf ball. You'll see results. You will see results, but you got to put the time in.
Yep, you got to put the time in. Yeah, that's like anything in life.
That's one thing I can't stand with bowlers. And when they get angry when they're bowling bad and they're cursing. And how many times did you go practice last week? How many times did you go practice in the past year? So if you didn't put the work in, you don't expect the results. So just accept what's happening and move on, or go down to the bowling alley, bowl an extra 3 games a week, work on your game, and get better.
And if you don't, then you're just not meant to fucking do it, right?
That's it. Then then be content with what you're
and it's so ironic what Fish is saying right now, Rob, and he's obviously going to relate this story because he drills this guy's bowling balls.
Sure.
There's a difference between bitching and doing nothing about it and bitching and working at it. Mm-hmm. My teammate Troy is one of the coolest motherfuckers you will ever meet on Tuesday nights.
I love Troy.
He says the word fuck more than I breathe on a daily basis. And he's constantly cursing about not being perfect every single shot he throws. And the best part about Troy is I have no problem with him bitching because Troy is always the first person to bowl 3 games after league or come and bowl for an hour before league to fix it.
Yeah.
Troy is always in there working on his game, and he never bitches about anybody else. He only bitches about himself.
Yep.
And he unfortunately bitches at himself way too quickly. He doesn't really give himself enough time. But the fact that he goes out and works on it, to me, is extremely admirable.
Yes.
Whereas if I got the one guy that wants to come and say, nice of you to fucking collect $30 every week and not oil after the high schools are done. Fuck this place. You guys suck. Like, and then they go out and then they still come back. It's like, man, do you do that everywhere you go? What the fuck is wrong with you?
Right. Dina Brown Simon says females love beating male bowlers. It's the greatest feeling.
Thanks, Dina, for rubbing that one in my face. Dina just decides last week to go out and bowl 278, 256 the first 2 games. Meanwhile, I got like 450 for 2. I'm like, and she's lefty, and she's better than me. So the whole thing just sucks.
That's fucking great. I love it.
And she wins more casino jackpots than me. Everything about her, I'm jealous of.
She comes here to talk shit. I fucking love it.
And I drilled the ball.
And he drilled the See, it's Fish's fault.
Damn it.
No, that's really cool. Dave wants to know, hey Johnny, I would love another show about old school stories with ex-pros.
Dave, you got it, man. I will gladly get that up and running. Let me know if you'd like anybody in particular to come and join us for some old stories, and I'll see if I can get them on the horn. That'd be a great way to at least introduce 2025. And,
yeah, I mean, there's still a whole
for
Rolodex of people we haven't even had on the show. We've been fortunate to speak with some of the best, the best, but there's still a lot of people that we'd love to get on the show. So,
By the way, Rob, you put up, I have to give a shout out to my buddy Norm Adams. I saw that he put a post up there for me.
Yes.
Norm, I miss you terribly, bro. I certainly miss Vegas, and you'll be the first person to know when I'm heading back out there for a little vacay. So love you, dude.
Do you miss Vegas at all? Are you content with where you are?
I miss Vegas every single minute of every single day.
Really?
But I don't miss it to a point that I'm depressed.
Okay.
I spent a solid 12 years there. I love absolutely everything about it. I have so many dear friends and have met so many awesome people and learned the culture of the West Coast compared to the East Coast in a capacity that I'm comfortable with. And now being back on the East Coast, the coolest thing for me is I've kind of merged the 2 personalities into what I am now. I used to be a little bit of an East Coast, Northeastern hothead, fucking Italian hothead. I used to
right.
I used to curse. I used to be very dramatic. I used to talk crap, and I learned out there. This was always something that we on the East Coast. If you get a flat tire and somebody's walking by while you're trying to change it, an East Coast person will say, "Give me that fucking wrench. You're doing that all wrong," and they'll fix the tire for you.
Right.
On the West Coast, they'll say, "Oh man, you got a flat tire. That sucks. Good luck, man." But they won't even consider helping you change that tire.
Right.
So I think that the pouring of love deep down for the East Coast, paired with the quiet, standoffish, I'll leave you alone of the West Coast, but their big thing on the West Coast for me is loyalty. People out there, in my experience, at least who I was hanging out with, are extremely loyal. You would never, ever, ever have to worry about anything transpiring that would ever even make you question anything about their loyalty to you.
Right.
And I think since having been home, I've kind of blended those 2 things together. I'll be the first one to step in front of somebody that's mistreating Martha or any of my other fucking close friends. But I'll also always be the guy who's going to shake everybody's hand. I don't give a fuck if you're a garbage man or if you're a CEO. I genuinely enjoy learning about people, and I like being nice to people. I like making people feel good. And I've kind of calmed down as I've gotten older because I've had the experience of what it's like when people get overly emotional. So I kind of know how to handle it rather than firing back at somebody that's firing at me. I've kind of learned how to just kind of sit back and be quiet.
Well, I mean, I've had the privilege to do 3 years of shows with you, and I've seen the actual change in you over the last 2 or 3 years. Like you're a completely different person now than what you were then. For with its personal growth or whatever. I mean, it's kind of cool to see.
Well, well, thank you. Like Fish said, like Fish said earlier, it's that light bulb goes on once in a while, and I did enough fucking things wrong to enough people that I genuinely cared about, and I mentally and physically, paid the price for it, and it took a little while to understand how to not make the same mistakes anymore. I may be I may not have as many close personal friends now because I'm not always trying to impress everybody and make everybody happy,
Yeah.
but I'm certainly never, ever, ever going to do something that makes anybody cry ever again. So I guess that's what I took away. And knowing that everything else, if I'm a lazy guy, if I'm a drunk guy, if I smoke too much weed, if I fucking oversleep, if I'm whatever, if I'm not committed, fine. But the one thing I am definitely now is loyal, especially to good people. So
You
that's
make
one thing that I can tap myself on the shoulder about.
And I give you credit for that, but you do make me sad when I can't see your beautiful face. So you really need to fucking
I
figure that out.
promise I will get my laptop before our next show in 3 weeks.
Yeah, sorry
good.
about mine too.
No, it's okay, Fish. It's fine. You're
Fish. The fact that you're even here, man, is great. And are we keeping you, or are you still good?
No, we're still good. I got a few more minutes. I got to get the dog out. So
You got it. I got to actually do the same thing over here too.
Getting back to Dave and who he wants on the show, we've had Bakes and Maximum Bob on the show. If you go back in our live archives on our YouTube channel, which you're on right now, you'll see all of our interviews with we've had Schaefer on twice. We've had John Mazza on a couple times.
Ironically, of
Parker and Barnes.
these other three that you mentioned, Dave, the one I would be probably a surprise to most of our listeners, but the one I would like to bring on here is Steve Cook.
I knew you were gonna say that.
I think that not only is he one of the classiest professionals to ever step in the limelight, he has probably got more fucking stories than anybody.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that's going to be a good one. I'm going to have to reach out to Steve. Plus, when I had my stores in Vegas under the umbrella of Bowler's Mart, that's who I bought all my shit from, was Steve Cook's Bowling Supply. So I'd be more than happy to get him on here. Great pick there. Thank you for the idea.
And obviously, we want to get them on before they get too old, and that's not knocking them. I mean, it's just when you get older, you don't understand technology and shit, and it's hard to get some of the older crowd on. So obviously, you want to kind of do it sooner rather than later.
I will tell you, Rob, real quick about Steve Cook. A quick funny story. So Steve Cook came out to Vegas from Sacramento for I don't remember what convention was going on in Vegas. Maybe it was Bowl Expo, but Steve organized a golf outing for all of us. We played Mountain Falls just outside Las Vegas. And Steve was actually meeting me at Sunset Station, and we were going to drive to the golf course together. And he brought his clubs into the shop before I locked up. And because Steve Cook is like 6'8", 270, or at least he was when he was bowling. So now, but he's 6'7", 6'8". And I'm looking at his putter, and I go, "Oh, is that like an Adam Scott putter?" Because Adam Scott holds the top of it under his chin. And he goes, "No, man, that's a standard putter." And I went and I took it out of his bag, and the fucking thing was at my nipples. And like, you don't really like when somebody's that fucking tall, bro. It's like, holy shit. So I thought that was interesting. It's like, I thought it was an Adam Scott putter. It was just an extended putter for his obscene height.
That's hilarious. Real quick, Fish, obviously you're originally from Brooklyn, right? I'm assuming you're a Yankees fan?
I gave up on sports when I stopped playing sports. But
Really?
yes, when I was a baseball fan, I was a Yankee fan.
Well, then I can't ask you about Soto and all the money they saved not re-signing him. But all right, Johnny, fuck it. I'll ask you. You're a Mets fan. Why'd you pay so much for Soto? What the fuck?
Man, money is so stupid nowadays. I mean, I hope he performs for the Mets the way he performed for the Yankees. I'm a Met fan, but I'm not a Met fan that hates the Yankees. And personally, I thought that he was a wonderful Yankee. I truly cannot believe he left.
Yeah,
I thought he looked so happy there, and they welcomed him like they welcomed Jeter. Like the Yankee fans were loyal and faithful to Juan Soto, at least from what I saw. They loved him. So I was shocked, absolutely shocked. So, you
Well,
know,
I hope for you and Mike Val's sake that he does take you guys to the promised land, because I don't know if Mike can take another season like this last one. I mean, it literally broke him.
yeah, it's okay. I thought the season was pretty good for New York baseball. New
He
York
was
football,
talking
on the
shit
other
like the
hand,
whole last month of the fucking season, and then they tanked it in the playoffs. And poor Mike, he just stopped
Fish.
tripping.
I know you've got to go. Rob, I did want to show you. Rob, are you still there?
Yes, you
Oh,
want to
sorry
show
about
me?
that. No,
You're
never
like,
mind. I
I
was
want to
going to
show
give
you
you.
my, and I'm like, if
I was
what?
going to give you a list of the amount of teams that have won a game more recently than the New York Giants at MetLife.
Oh Jesus.
It's a really, really long list, but I'll show it to you later. I know
Okay,
Fish has got to get out and walk his dog. So, Fish,
that's fair.
thank you again for being here tonight. Is there anything you want to say about your store or anything along the lines before we let you go?
No, just come down and check us out. You know, we'll help you out. We'll make you a better bowler.
All of
And
our listeners in
yeah.
the tri-state area, Majestic Lanes, that's considered Hopelawn, New Jersey / Perth Amboy, right off Route 9, headed north. So you can't miss it. Go
Guys,
check
thank you
out
so
Premier
much,
Pro
man.
Shop.
Thank you so much for having me on. I'd love to do it again. You know, we get a little more into detail into the businesses and stuff like that. So yeah,
You
let me
are
know.
always welcome here, my friend. We're definitely looking forward to having you back on.
All right, guys. Thanks again, man.
Appreciate
Have
it,
a good
Fish.
night.
Thanks,
Have a good night,
Fish.
bud. Thank you.
All right.
Later.
Later.
All right, Johnny.
Yeah, that's
He's a
I
cool
wanted.
dude. I mean,
Yeah,
he's
he's a
another
great
classy
dude.
guy.
And it's not even just that, man. I enjoy hustlers. He not only operates the shop right up until the time that league starts. He competes in 3 leagues. He's loyal to all of his customers. He runs pots in the league, so he's constantly running up and down 26 lanes, checking scores, making announcements. He's just a hustler. He's a go-getter, and he operates a shop on his own. He takes care of
Yeah.
that entire business on his own. And anybody that's ever been in the pro shop industry understands how difficult of a job it is. You have to wear so many hats. You have to cater to so many different personalities. You have to understand when you have to put your foot down and tell them that, look, I'm not charging you $10 less because the guy up the street is charging $10 less. I'm charging you for my service. And my service includes watching you bowl for 5 minutes, measuring your access point, checking your old equipment, making sure the fit is proper, recommending the right ball, giving you a couple free games to go try that ball.
Yeah.
The entire service in a pro shop is very similar. Nobody ever bitches about how much it is to get clubs fitted when they go into a PGA Tour Superstore. Nobody ever bitches about paying somebody $100 an hour to give them swing lessons for an hour. It's bowling is like such an odd commodity where people, it's like they want to get better, but they expect it to be handed to them. It's the balancing of the books, the making sure you have the right inventory for the right times of season, stocking the right items for whatever event may be coming up, understanding if your clientele is going to be people that are purchasers when a tournament is there. There's so many different things you have to do, and you kind of got to do it with a smile on your face.
Yeah.
You're they said it best in the movie Two for the Money. And in the movie Two for the Money with Al Pacino and Matthew McConaughey, they run a sports a sports business, a sports advisory business where customers would call in, they would give them the picks, and then if they win, they would get 10%.
Yeah.
So the whole idea of the movie was if they're calling you, you've already got them. The same way if somebody is going to a Toyota dealership and they're looking around, they already want to give their money to you. So you have to do your best job to dissect exactly what they want to spend that money on. It's not a matter of if they're going to spend it or not. They're already there. You've already got them. So if you offer them quality while they're there, they're always going to come back. And the pro shop industry is a repeat business. And your best customers are the ones that trust you, have no problem paying what you are making them pay because they understand a business is a business. I have no problem going and paying George Hart $70 for a fucking haircut because he cuts my hair the right way. I do have a problem going to Great Clips, even though it's $35, knowing my head's gonna look like a fucking chia pet when I'm done. You know, it's
Plus, Georgie's the fucking shit anyway. So I mean,
absolutely.
you go there for the experience as well as a great haircut.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I listen to great music. It's wonderful. I mean, it's the entire get to talk to my buddy. It's a great experience. 9 out of 10 times, people are only paying for the experience. People don't care about spending an extra $1,000 for front row at a Katy Perry concert because they want the experience. They're not doing it for the prestige. They're not doing it to be better than anybody else. They feel like that concert is worth being in the front row for, so they're going to do that.
Yeah, no, absolutely right. Anyways, fantastic show, Johnny. What are your plans for Christmas next week?
I am absolutely loaded. Tomorrow is my only free day, so I got to finish Christmas shopping.
Yeah.
Then I have a Christmas party at Nick D'Ambrosio's Marina and Yacht Club.
Nice.
That's down in Forked River, so that's going to be a nice dinner, open bar. Then I have to come home, get my ass to sleep because on Saturday, the 21st, I'm bowling in a trio tournament at Lodi Lanes with my pal Najee Myers and my longtime friend Darian LeMay. So we are looking forward to taking home that trophy. And then on the 22nd, I am competing in a 5-man bowling event with Ron Glick. Good old Ron Glick
Nice.
is my teammate at Hamilton Lanes at 9 a.m. on Sunday. Oh, shit. Tomorrow is Thursday. I'm subbing on Nick's team. Good thing I just mentioned his name because I definitely would have forgot. Monday, we have bowling and then our Howell Lanes Christmas party right after bowling is completed. And then Christmas Eve is the holiday party at Majestic Lanes. So needless to say, it sounds like John is going to be extremely intoxicated until next year.
Right.
Yeah, because then we have Christmas and then
Christmas
New Year's.
and then New Year's. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good thing that I haven't missed many gym days in the last 3 weeks because I have a feeling I'm not going to be physically sound in the next week or two.
That's fair. That's fair. Hey, everybody deserves a break every now and then. I mean, you've been busting your ass to get to where you are. Even you deserve a break at some point. But with your hard work and your determination, it's not like you're gonna eat like shit or drink all the time and not go back. As soon as you fucking are, 100%, you're gonna get right back to it. That's the difference
Absolutely.
between you now and you 10 years ago.
Yeah, it's maintenance now. It's understanding like the balance of the two, right? Like
Right.
I can still enjoy drinks and operate, and I at least know a number nowadays, whereas I never gave a shit about a number. I at least have like okay, I got to make sure for every shot that I have, I drink 8 ounces of water on top of my normal 100 ounces a day. It's all the little tiny things that any 20-year-old in their right mind wouldn't even have to think about. But you do have to think about at 40 and obviously at 50 and so on and so forth. So my main goal is to try and be as young as I can for as long as I can. That's why I weight lift. And if I didn't weight lift and all I did was drink, I would look like a 60-year-old, 40-year-old instead of a 30-year-old, 40-year-old.
Especially if you're smoking cigarettes, man.
That's next. I am slowly but surely. I'm not going to say it's my New Year's resolution, but I am at a point where I've got to stop.
Yeah.
And I want to stop, but I need to want to stop a little bit more as I'm lighting one right now.
I was just say I kind of heard you ruffling. I knew what you're doing.
As I'm lighting one right now.
I mean, I'm a former smoker. I know all the tells and all the sounds. I smoked I started late. I started smoking like 20, and then in 2009 I just quit cold turkey, and I haven't gone back. I don't know what it was that I tried multiple times to quit, but eventually I just did it. And it took for I don't know how, I don't know why that time it just happened to take, but I still have dreams and shit where I'm smoking. I still have mental cravings for it, but I haven't ever gone back to it. But if you could just get over that, I mean, you're good to go.
The truth of the matter is, Rob, is I've never really tried to quit smoking. I've tried to quit alcohol. I stopped drinking for almost 2 years.
Yeah,
not a sip of anything. That's because I really, really, really wanted to because it was destroying my life.
Right.
Like cigarettes, I know are killing me, but alcohol was literally destroying my life right before my very eyes.
Yeah.
That's the big difference. I know the cigarettes are killing me. I just happen to really, really like the taste of them. I really, really like the taste of them. I obviously like smoking weed. I don't smoke nearly as much weed as I used to.
Right.
It's very, very, very rare, as a matter of fact, nowadays, and almost like obsolete when I'm in public. It's usually when I'm by myself. But as far as the booze, like I would wake up and not and I have to look at my phone and see like, who are these 9 people that I took pictures with? Why is my account missing $200 extra that I know I didn't spend?
Right.
Where are my car keys? Where is my car parked? I mean,
Where am I?
the gross negligence and complete unawareness or care for anybody else's life because of the
Yeah.
shit that I was doing. That was kind of like the okay, all right. And then obviously I've said it before on the show. I mean, October 3rd of 2020, right when the quarantine officially ended in Vegas and everybody was out and about, you know, I went to jail. I went to fucking jail for blowing 3 times over the legal limit. And that's not good. And I still will forever remember the smell of that cell I was in for 12 hours.
Yeah.
I will never ever ever forget that smell. And it's like it was like a light bulb went off. So it's like, okay, just try not to drink. So I didn't. The cigarettes, I'm finally starting to feel now at 40 the effects. I feel something not right in my chest.
Yeah.
I don't enjoy the cigarette for the relaxating purposes that it used to provide. Now I'm smoking because it's a fucking habit. It's an
Yep.
addiction.
Yeah.
I guess tooting my own horn here, and a lot of people have always said otherwise about me, but the one thing I will say about myself is I've never touched a narcotic. I've never touched a drug. I've never even fucking seen a narcotic to be quite honest.
Yeah. Same.
So of all of the vices I do have, at least I managed to understand my addictive personality and stay away from the shit that really could have ruined everything.
And I'm sure if you really wanted it, you could have gotten it pretty easily, just given who you are. You know, and didn't, you know.
Oh, I could. There's, dude, finding drugs in Las Vegas was about as easy as finding a McDonald's.
Right.
Like you don't even need fucking MapQuest or a GPS. Just turn left or right, and within 5 miles you're gonna find a McDonald's. You know, that's basically how easy it was and how available it was.
Yeah.
But for me, the greatest thing about Vegas was I would go to South Point at any time, any day. I could drink, I could smoke as many cigarettes as I wanted inside. I could walk out front, smoke a joint
Yeah.
in complete freedom
Yeah.
and never ever have to worry about a god. I didn't need anything else. That was plenty for me. Being drunk and high at the same time is a really, really awesome, fun time. You know?
Yeah.
So I didn't need anything else to bump anything. But no, the again, I'm starting to ramble here, but I'm actually in a talkative mood right now. So as long as I'm not keeping you, I'll just keep spitting.
No, we're fine. I'm sure everybody loves hearing stories from you anyway. Especially when we start talking about life issues and all that. Like it's you have a lot of experience, dude. I mean, even though you're 40, you've been through a lot of shit, right? Like you've not just because of who you are and who your dad was, but I mean just it's
I've always,
living
you
out in
know,
Vegas by itself for anybody is a
well,
fucking adventure, right? Like
well, Rob, I've always said this. I'm an old 40. My dad was 37 when I was born. So I mean, my father's 77, my mother's 73.
yeah.
So most people I know that are 40, their parents are a little bit older, or excuse me, a little bit younger than that.
Yeah.
Um, so I had a very old school upbringing. In turn, throughout my entire life, I've always liked older, more mature, self uh, self confident, self responsible women. You know, as I
That's
said
true.
earlier, my
Yeah.
ex is 53 years old. Um, that was, the shit that I learned from her now being 40, when I'm around another 40-year-old, it's almost like, oh my God, this 40-year-old doesn't know what's going to happen in 13 years the way my ex does.
Right, right.
So I'm already thinking like a 53-year-old and or a 77-year-old for that matter.
Yep.
I've always been a little bit older mentally than my age actually suggests. And I guess that's another reason I love drinking so much, because when I drink, I just sing and fucking I'm bubbly and have a good time and spit shit with everybody. You know,
Yeah.
and I don't give a fuck what anybody thinks about me, you know?
I'm glad you got over that, honestly, because there was a couple shows we did where you were pretty fucked up, and I had people message me like, "Wow, Johnny was fucking lit tonight," like, and you could tell like the difference between you sober and you drunk. It's a big difference. Not that there's anything wrong with it. Like you're a human being, you can do whatever fuck you want, but you know when it starts to affect stuff like that, it's like maybe you should just fucking hold off. hold out for a couple hours, right? But
you know, and in the end, it wasn't even what I was doing to myself. It was what I was doing to everybody I actually cared about.
yeah,
The the genuine hurt that I saw in the eyes of so many people, that was enough. That was enough for me. I'm done making anybody else feel inferior. I'm done making anybody else. I'm done mistreating people because I'm not aware of what I'm doing. Yeah, and it took a lot of like painful love from a lot of different people.
mm-hmm.
I my biggest supporter throughout my entire life is Stephanie Sheridan. My biggest supporter. And the reason she is my biggest supporter and my favorite human being on this planet is because she calls me out. She
Yeah.
puts me in my place every single time. But she's also the one that asked me to be the minister at her wedding because she sees what kind of a heart that I have, and she doesn't want me doing anything that's going to decimate it. And I need, the same way we were talking about Pete earlier, I need somebody there that says, "Hey, fucko, you're acting like a fucko.
Yeah.
I don't give a shit about anybody else. You are fucking this up for you right now, dude. Take it one notch down." Like, they made people like Stephanie make me aware that I'm falling down what you just said. You've seen me down before.
Yeah. And honestly, like, you guys have always had a unique relationship, and she's a very unique human being. There's not many. There's not another Stephanie Sheridan. There's only one.
Right.
And when you use the word soulmate, it doesn't always have to be somebody that you're going to end up being with or married to romantically or whatever. Like, she is one of your soulmates. Like, and she always will. But she's your person.
100%.
And
her and Eric's willingness and availability for me when I was actually going through, when I was finally going to leave Vegas. I didn't even ask them. They just flat out said, "You have a room here, you have this, you have that, and all we want you to do is help us with groceries." And they made it's I can still go there at any time, any day, and know that I'll have a place to be with them. And I'm thrilled to death that I don't have to hinge on their life together, especially now that they're getting married.
Yeah.
At the present time, I'm in a very, very good spot. But to that's the kind of shit that I can't lose another person like that again.
Yep.
I refuse to. I refuse to cater to my dad when I was younger. I can't remember who the quote was from. I want to say it was Vince Lombardi. But on orange construction paper with a black Sharpie he hung on my wall, it says, "A person is unsuccessful if they give up what they want most for what they want now." And my entire life, I have given up what I want the most for what I want now.
Right.
And the biggest changer for that was weightlifting, because you can't get what you want now unless you weightlift every day.
Yeah.
5 days a week. Commit to your nutrition. You can't get to where you want to be, and you'll never get to where you want to be. It's so funny. Every single social media influencer, every single former Mr. Olympia says the exact same thing. You'll keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and every time you get bigger, you're going to feel like you're that much smaller. Body dysmorphia, bro. I look at myself, I'm like, it's like I've never picked up a weight in my life. But when I walk into the bowling alley, at least 10 people say to me, "Dude, you're fucking huge, bro. Like, you're blocking out the sun. You're doing," and like,
yeah,
the most, and it's mostly, if not always, it's men. And that, to me, I've never looked for attention from men in any capacity, but to have the respect enough of guys to want to ask me questions and like follow what I do is very, very, very humbling, especially since it's something other than bowling. Like bowling, I expect people to want to know, "Hey, dude, like, how do you do that? How do you do this? What was it like growing up being Johnny's son?"
Sure.
No, weightlifting, I do that for me.
Yeah.
And I don't bother anybody in the gym. People come up to me and they want to talk to me. And to me, that is like, that's fucking awesome. I mean, that's just awesome.
Could you earn that all by yourself? Like, that was you. That was That was nobody else. That wasn't being Johnny Petraglia Jr. It wasn't, it was you earning that respect.
Absolutely.
Stepping out of your comfort zone and doing it yourself and putting the work in. Like, and not to say that you ever got handed anything just because of your, Johnny Senior
No,
son.
you could say that. I've been handed an awful lot.
Okay. All right. Well,
which is
okay,
probably
fair.
why I'm so proud of myself, because there is nothing at the end of the tunnel here. Like when I'm bowling league on a Tuesday night, if I bowl 300 game 3 and I win the high game of the night, the winner take all, the series pot, the 10 in a row pot, I'm gonna leave there with $600-700.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. But when I go and I lift weights, I'm going to lift weights approximately 90 minutes to an hour and 45 minutes a day for nothing other than my own well-being. And I know maybe 6 months from now, my traps will be a little bit higher, or my rear delts will be a little bit wider, or my bicep peaks will be a little bit higher. And I'm only doing that for me. There's never an end. There's never any reward. That nothing ever comes out of it. I'm not blasting myself on social media trying to get people to follow me and pay me for my nutrition advice. I simply do it because the emotional wellness I feel the entire time in the gym and the hour or two after it is like the most exotic feeling I could possibly explain other than the obvious.
Well, it's a high. It's a different kind of high.
It's an insane high.
Yeah. Not that I would know, but I know I've heard about it.
It's, well, you definitely experienced it losing weight, because
I
was talking to you earlier, like, you got to remember, dude, I used to be the weight that I am now, but my waist was a 38.
Right.
And then I went from 230 down to about 178 and my waist was a 30. And I remember when I was with Rochelle, I would take the staircase 2 steps, no fucking problem, like I was 18 years old. It was like, holy shit, how much easier is it to maneuver a 170-pound frame on a 6-foot body as opposed to 230?
Right.
And now I'm still 230 and my waist is a 32, but I can barely take 1 step when I go up the steps now. And it's still it's all relative to the weight that your body demands.
Yes.
But it's the same kind of high losing the weight. It's seeing parts of your body that you've always not liked. I've never liked my love handles. I've never liked my puffy cheeks or my double chin. And when those go away, it's like, oh shit, no, I got cheekbones now. Woo, I got a jawline. This is fucking awesome.
Yeah, I mean, contrary to Ocho's opinion, I had a neck at some point.
I think that's what they serve at Popeyes on Sundays.
That's a good one. That is a good one. All right, I got to get my kid to bed here in a minute. I would talk to you all night. This is good shit too. I mean, I hate to cut you off, but
no, this is great. I got to walk Evelyn anyway, so this is good.
Dave wants to know, how's your dad doing?
Dave, thank you very much for asking. He's doing just fine. He's actually subbing on my Monday night team this coming Monday, and then the one after New Year's, because we have 2 weeks off. But he's still grinding away. Shot a couple 690s and low 7s back-to-back weeks. He's at that age, bro. It's a grind for him to work through 3 games, but he's still doing it, and he's still very heavily involved with the Bowlers to Veterans link. He has him and Parker have their scholarship league for the children on Friday nights. They just released the International Bowling Hall of Fame Museum just released his signature pin this year. Only 50 were made.
Fuck yeah.
So he was very excited to snag 2 of those for me and my sister. He's doing fine right now. I know he's ready for golf season again. So
I love your dad. We got to get him on the show again. It's been a while since I got a chance to talk to him, but I'll always, I mean, we've done obviously 140 shows already, but to me, my all-time favorite was just watching him watch himself throw that 300 game and listening to like his mindset at the time. Like, I'm always going to treasure that. Like, that's just one of the fucking, that's like asking Jordan, like, what was going through your mind when you fucking, fake Brian Russell out of his fucking shoes and you hit that fucking game-winning shot. Like, you don't ever get those opportunities, and your dad is one of those guys. So I'll always remember that.
And Dad's always been the two things people always tell you about my dad if you haven't ever met him. Oh, two things about your dad. He loves his red wine, and man, does he have stories for days, and I could listen to his stories until next Tuesday.
Yeah.
He is a wonderful, wonderful storyteller because he's very, very intricate. He's very deep. And my father is an extremely, extremely emotional human being. And because his entire life is dedicated to the welfare and livelihood of everybody else, like when he said at the end of that 300, college is taken care of, I'm so happy the kids can go to college, everything's gravy from now on, he meant that.
Yeah.
And kudos to me and my sister. I'm a graduate of Youngstown State. My sister's a graduate of Monmouth University. And we both did at least fulfill that dream that my parents had, graduating college. And I'll never forget it. And yeah, and every single Pro Bowler that has a televised 300 for, especially my dad was one of the rare cases. I think my dad, Bob Learn Jr., Rhino Page, maybe, and Bob Benoit, maybe the only guy. Oh, and Pete McCordick, maybe
yeah.
the only guys that actually bowled a televised 300 for $100,000.
Yep.
So that is, especially in 1994, it's not necessarily life-changing money, but it's certainly up there. It changes a lot of things. And it changed a lot of things for my dad coming to the tail end of his career. He was 47 years old. He hadn't made a TV show since 1992 when he bowled against Dave Arnold at your home center, Rad Rob Bradley Bowl.
Yes, sir. I was there.
And his previous title was the 1980 National Championship. So Dad hadn't even smelt victory for nearly 14 years. And had it not been for the Stone 9 against Dale Traber in the semifinal, I guarantee you Dad goes on to beat David Traber, because not only was Dad the only person on that TV show to bowl 200, he was obviously the only person to bowl 300. He was the only person to bowl 200.
Yeah.
Eric Forkel bowled 180, Walter Ray bowled 190, and both Trabers shot 180, 190. Nobody else even bowled a deuce on that show. So that was very unfortunate for him to leave that 9-pin. And obviously the emotions got the best of him in the middle of that game as he misses the head pin, flags the spare, leaves the split, and he got his shit together and gave himself an opportunity, which is all you can ever ask for. And it's definitely a story that will live on eternally.
And if you guys want to check that out, it is in our archives on our YouTube channel. You can watch the watch along of his 300 game on ABC and hear his insight and the thoughts into what was going on frame by frame. Again, it was just fucking remarkable. And if you guys haven't seen that, definitely check it out. There's you'll never see it anywhere else. So all right, my friend. Well, Merry Christmas to you, brother, and to you and your family, to Martha and everybody, and Evelyn, and those ugly ass dogs that Martha has, and the rest of your. She's gonna get me for this. She's gonna kill me for that one. And Ocho too, if you're still watching. Merry Christmas, jackass. We missed you this week. Hopefully things are going well on your side. But yeah, man. Hey, I just want to thank you, bro. Just 140 episodes, man. Like, thank you for letting me do this. Every week or every other week.
I have a blast every single week, bro. And again, we're not here for the money. We're not here for anything other than the joy of talking to our loyal fans that we have every week. And obviously I praise everything that you do. It would not be possible without you. I try and say that at least once on every single show. And I hope you and your family have a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year as well. And again, to all of our viewers, same to you and yours. Happy holiday season. Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy New Year. All the fucking happies, all the merries to all of you. Thank you all so much for always being here and supporting our channel. And I promise you'll see this gorgeous face and sexy body on the next episode.
And everybody, we'd like to thank everybody except for Doc Sullivan. I don't even care if it's Christmas season. I'm not having a change of heart. I hope you get a fucking stocking full of coal, you miserable son of a bitch.
Perfect.
But for the rest of you guys, we love you. Merry Christmas. Happy Merry Hanukkah. And we'll see you in a couple of weeks. Enjoy the rest of the Christmas season. Be safe. Have a safe New Year's, and we'll see you in a couple of weeks. Good night, everybody.